6 tips for monotone urban sketching. Enjoy. These sets of tips essentially is only when you're traveling with 3 things: your urban sketching sketchbook, a water brush, and a fountain pen. Of course, you need some tissue and serviettes just to clean up. Well, the fountain pen is the most important. Of course, it carries your ink and the ability for you to draw. The water brush is for you to create value, texture, and so on. So let me just start with the first tip. Most important, lines, right? If you think about drawing in your fountain pen, it's really just to produce lines, nice clean lines. So you can see some of the example. There's a video of a one-line technique. There are other sort of line work that you can do with it, essentially having it dance around. The second tip is to use your water brush like your fountain pen to create what I call the brushed lines. I take a bit of colors or ink from my fountain pen, and then I could basically just draw with it. Instead of having just pure clean color, I could actually draw with diluted ink, if you like, and that's also an option as you draw with just these basic 3 things, right? You can also go back in with your fountain pen to create some dark spots in your line, if you will. Some example where I've done similar sort of line work in that sense. Tip number 3, you could actually just produce values. Let me just show you the 5 tones you could make with this technique. Assuming that you want to create different values in your sketch, you can use the ink from your pen and you could go in with it. Of course, the darkest dark I use straight from the fountain pen, but diluted ink, if you like, will give you a slightly lighter value, maybe a 4 out of a 5. Even further diluted ink will give you even lighter sort of sense of like maybe a 3. Oops, that's too much. I'm just gonna lighten it up, and as you can see, now I've more or less produced 1, 2, 3, 4 value tone, if you like. And in this case, you can actually just use your fountain pen, water brush to create the 5 tones, right? 4 tones because one of them is left white, so that's 1. But essentially 1 to 5, it's from your fountain pen to dilution of water with water using your water brush. So some examples. I kind of cheat here too. I use a bit of a white to kind of opaque white. In this case, same thing. Using fountain pen and water brush to create the toned sketch. Tip number 4. This is just basically sort of gradation, if you like. You go in with your clean water brush and you put up a patch of puddle of wet patch, if you like, and then you go in with your ink, and as you can see, it's spread very nicely. Same thing, example where you could actually just use that. It gradates very nicely. Of course, it depends how you control the ink and the water. It creates different texture, but you can play around with it. It's a very fun thing to do. Number 5, one of my favorite is just to splatter with your as I show you, just splatter. This creates very interesting splattering effect, and it's useful to create the texture. Just be careful with it. If you use waterproof ink like I do, you may end up splattering on your shirt and or even your table. Make sure that you have some kind of covering at the bottom. If you don't, you might end up dirtying the table. Here's an example of where I splatter. Last tip, number 6, lines, squiggles, right? Lines, just drawing, right, of shapes and so on. Squiggles is basically just going around and just squiggle it, like create random movement of the lines. You could use your water brush, you could use your fountain pen, you can mix them up, and you can, have it wet in some way, and then, create a kind of texturing. Squiggles is really more of a texturing as well in that sense, and I use it to create texture, if you like, and just play, and in that sense, it's actually quite a fun thing to do, right? Yeah. Some example, it's not really drawing, but you can see the squiggles at the bottom. And so there you go, 6 tips at the end. Just play. I hope that helps you in your urban sketching, using just basically a fountain pen and a water brush. If you like this sort of content that I make, subscribe. It will help me a lot. If you like this video, please smash the like button. Thank you. Peace wherever you are.